So we open on Lister trimming his toenails with hedge clippers.
Grown toenail rim, it's killing me, man.
Don't even get me started on those evil little bastards. Also, I don't think hedge clippers are gonna help much unless the plan is to lop off your big toes. By the way, I keep meaning to talk about Lister's shirt. For the last couple seasons, the wardrobe department has been using that throwaway line about Lister going to art college as an excuse to paint cool things on his clothes, implying that he actually is artistically inclined and painted those designs himself. Season 11 has this shirt. From this angle, we can see Rimmer as a little cartoon head with Smeg head pointing to it.
Breakfast, sir?
6 o'clock in the morning?
We moved the clocks forward today, sir.
What's the point of having daylight savings time in space? Anyway, Lister's shirt also has a little self-portrait on it, holding a beer. So breakfast is the full Lister special.
Eggs, bacon, sausages, hash browns, onions, 6 slices of white toast, double buttered on both sides with mustard.
They had me until the toast.
And a beer milkshake to wash it all down with.
And beer milkshake. Nice throwback, by the way.
Give me breakfast. Chicken vindaloo and a milkshake.
What flavour milkshake?
Beer.
Unfortunately, Kryten, forgot to make it.
Are you okay? I've been a little distracted of late. I think I've lost my love of mopping. And not just mopping. Scrubbing, dusting, even wiping.
Kryten no longer enjoys cleaning? This is serious. Seems like he's been contemplating his own mortality, which is never a good idea.
If everything in the universe is going to end, including time itself, what is the point in cleaning above eye level?
Lister tries bringing up Silicon Heaven, which is another neat throwback.
Does that bring you no comfort?
Well, just lately, I've started to think that the idea of an afterlife for machines is preposterous.
Then where do all the calculators go?
But yeah, it turns out that it's Kryten's birthday, and that's apparently what started all of this.
I came off the conveyor belt 2,976,000 years ago today. Where did all the years go?
Anyway, Kryten is about halfway through his lifespan, so...
Kryten's having a midlife crisis.
Title drop, sorta.
Mozart was 5 when he wrote Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
I didn't say anything about it when I covered that episode, but that was also mentioned in Lemons.
You know, Mozart was only 5 when he wrote Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
I looked this up just for the hell of it, and apparently Mozart did an arrangement of the French folk song that the tune in Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star borrowed from, along with Ba Ba Black Sheep and the Alphabet Song. Also, Mozart was 25 at the time, not 5, so it's not as random as I would have expected. There is a connection there, but it's still far from accurate. Not that I expect historical accuracy from Rimmer anyway, or anyone else on this show for that matter, except maybe Kryten. But after hearing the second mention of that quote-unquote fact, I got curious.
And after Twinkle, he went on to write, among other things, the best of Mozart.
Stop trying to sound smart, Rimmer.
It must be so hard for you being the only one here with a classical education.
It is.
Anyway, they go looking for Kryten and... there he is.
With the new pushrod suspension system, allowing my nose to be lower to the ground, I can take corners at 38 degrees.
Right.
Check this.
That was a pretty impressive effect for this show. Anyway, Lister brings up the idea of a midlife crisis.
It's a period of emotional turmoil in the middle of life. Now check out these subwoofers.
I think Cat approves of the new Kryten.
You're having a midlife crisis.
Perhaps I'll go bungee jumping in the lift shaft and mull it over. I wonder why I'm so attracted to bungee jumping all of a sudden.
Whoa! Whoa!
I love this show.
He's having a full-on midlife crisis.
Maybe don't make a drinking game out of how often they say midlife crisis in this episode. Anyway, Lister wants to show Kryten how much he's achieved with breaking his programming, but Rimmer argues that he hasn't achieved that much.
He's been independent ever since I helped him break his programming.
Yes, independent to look after you.
That's actually a good point. Lister's relationship with Kryten is an interesting contradiction, with how he's helped him grow while simultaneously holding him back. There could maybe be a video in that. Lister's idea is to find another of the Nova 5's fleet with a mechanoid like Kryten still on board, so we can see how he's grown since he was on the Nova 5. And they end up locating the Nova 3.
Any life signs, sir?
1. Mechanoid 3000 series. Goes by the name of Butler.
The Nova 3 was trying to locate a space station whose mission was to communicate with the universe.
There used to be a theory, now dismissed as preposterous, that the universe was an intelligent entity.
They start contemplating what Butler might be like, and naturally they're expecting him to be like Kryten was, unable to lie and such.
Butler!
Kryten, how lovely to meet you. Follow me and I'll escort you to our bridge. I hope you don't mind, but I prepared some canapes. I thought you might be peckish after your journey. I hope you like vintage champagne.
Yeah, obviously this is gonna backfire.
After the crew died, I converted this space into a gallery so I had somewhere to keep the paintings.
Butler has also improved, and in a much more upscale way than Kryten. While Kryten was learning how to lie and refuse orders, Butler was learning how to paint, compose music, and write novels.
Incidentally, if any of you have any diseases, I most probably have an antidote. Breakthrough medical cures is a hobby of mine.
Anyway, Butler plans to remain on the Nova 3, but agrees to visit Red Dwarf for the day.
My only captain now is my own muse.
How is this helping Kryten?
Rimmer, being Rimmer, is hoping to convince him to stay.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to update our mech.
What, get rid of Kryten?
We'll keep him for the cleaning.
For what it's worth, Rimmer also wanted to convince Legion to join the crew, and we saw how that went.
I think I could rather help expand your EM booster circuits.
We simply can't afford to have Starbuck out of commission for any length of time.
There, done.
But on the way back to Red Dwarf, they encounter a Gelf ship. As usual, Kryten makes a suggestion.
Reroute power to the fusion booster. Try and outrun them.
I don't mean to interfere, but if you do that, won't the gunships simply take advantage of the open drives and electro-jam the engine?
But it doesn't work out so well this time.
Incoming!
Prepare yourself to die, human ship of scum.
Well, this is a more human-looking Gelf, and he speaks English. That's interesting. He's almost cute in a way. I don't know, I just like his poofy hair and little horns. Also,
Equihecte! Is that you?
Butler?
yeah, of course.
You two know each other?
I'm his daughter's godfather.
I think this is the first time they've ever encountered a Gelf that didn't follow in disaster.
Equihecte's promised to safely escort us back to Red Dwarf.
We must thank them. Akach, magalach, makagagmach.
Actually, Kryten, it's Akaka Magaha. Ma. No, it's in the throat. Ma.
Oh god, make it stop.
That's it. Ma.
Even Rimmer is doing it now. I love how Gelf language always results in a silly gag. In more ways than one, sometimes. Anyway, Butler asks the Gelf about his father, who it turns out is sick.
Oh, do you have a cure, Butler?
Well, possibly. It's hard to say without seeing him.
Well, then you must go.
Kryten takes the opportunity to get rid of Butler.
They'll teleport me aboard their ship and then afterwards return me to the Nova 3. I must bid you farewell.
Later, Lister joins Kryten in the cockpit. Turns out that Lister had a midlife crisis a few years ago.
And finally, accepted.
How long did this whole thing last, sir?
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds like Lister.
Yeah, I just thought, Dave, you're getting older. Move on.
Just like that.
It's not so easy for Kryten, though.
Butler is several generations before me, and yet he's done so much more with what he's been given.
But it turns out that Butler's fix earlier actually backfired.
Meaning? The engines are gonna burn out, sir. He'll look out till he's stupid. Say we die. Even better.
Yeah, congrats, Kryten.
Oh, my jealousy chip's overloading, sir. Return to sane mode. Of course we should land.
So they have to land quickly, and Lister finds the nearest site, which happens to be this space station, the one that was built for the purpose of communicating with the universe.
Did any communication ever take place between these scientists and the universe?
It appears not. The scientists were long dead before the computers completed their billions of calibrations. Look at that.
And here we go with the landline phone again. Turns out that the universe has been on hold for a while.
To be seriously smacked off.
Leave this to me.
Oh, Rimmer, just don't.
To whom am I speaking, please?
I am the entity known to you as the universe.
So the universe sounds like Morgan Freeman? I buy that.
How can we know for certain that you are indeed the universe?
Anyway, after Rimmer wastes time questioning its identity,
But can you prove it?
What are you asking for, Rimmer? A utility bill?
Lister hands the phone to Kryten since he's the one with the questions.
I've been struggling of late to comprehend the point of existence. If you're going to die in 14 billion years' time, what's the point in anything?
Well, I'm gonna die?
And now the universe is gonna have a midlife crisis.
No wonder I'm expanding exponentially. Halfway through my life, and I've only ever created one lousy, stupid planet with intelligent life.
And before anyone tries to argue that this is inconsistent with some episode or another, you're wrong. Every single alien-like creature to ever show up on this series has been genetically engineered by humans, hence the catch-all term GELF, genetically engineered life form. Therefore, not aliens. Look it up if you don't believe me. If there's one thing the creators of the show have been consistent on, it's their no aliens rule. It just wasn't confirmed before now. My only complaint, especially with how this season likes to do callbacks,
I've only ever created one lousy, stupid planet with intelligent life.
And that's debatable.
is that there's no hint of disappointment from Rimmer. I can believe that he grew out of his aliens obsession from the first couple seasons,
Aliens! Aliens!
but I feel like he should have some kind of reaction to having confirmation that aliens don't exist. No big deal, it just would have been a nice callback.
What have I been doing all this time?
Making life from nothing is really rather tricky, sir. You've done rather well.
But Kryten gives the universe a pep talk.
If you created everything in the universe, then you must have created love. We do know love exists. And if it does, then life has meaning.
Which makes himself feel better as well.
Let's hear it for the universe.
Only on Red Dwarf would you have a handful of people applauding the universe.
Any advice you can give us before we jog on?
Yes.
What?
Kryten, take off that suit. It really sucks.
It does, Kryten, sorry. Back on Starbug later, Kryten calls up Butler to brag about how he talked to the universe.
Oh, you know the universe.
Of course he does.
You purposely expanded our EM circuit so I'd meet him? You have him on speed dial?
And so ends Krysis. This wasn't like the best episode or anything, but it was really cute. I like the idea of a robot having a midlife crisis and being its own sports car. Robert Llewellyn must have gotten a kick out of that since he's something of a car enthusiast. He probably didn't appreciate the implication that he's getting old, though. That said, though, apparently all of the actors, along with Doug Naylor himself being around that age, was what inspired this episode in the first place. By the way, for the record, that was not Morgan Freeman, just a really good imitator. If this wasn't Red Dwarf, I would have thought it was him. This guy has actually done a lot of voice work for this show. He was Shaft 14 in Give and Take, the croquet announcer in Officer Rimmer, and he's going to show up in the next episode and again in Season 12. I also thought Butler was a fun character. Despite how cultured he is, he somehow manages to not come across as arrogant at all and is surprisingly likable. I guess that's all I have to say about this one. It's not terribly deep, but it's funny and cute. Next up is the season finale, Can of Worms. See you then.
When he goes to the loo, do you fit a special hand made from 3-ply toilet tissue?
It's an excellent suggestion, sir. I'll make a note.